Yo, 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 welcome to Attacking Third. It's your girl, Darian Jenkins. I'm joined by soccer legends McCall Zerboni and Jen Beattie. We have got a great show for you today. We have an interview with Kerry Abello, her first national team call up this week, our ideal starting 11s for this camp, the first match. And we're going to have a little game. Name that player, hosted by our very own Jen Beattie for the first time. Let's go. But before we get it started, Jen, I have to give you your flowers because you called the Women's Champions League final to a T. And I saw, if you don't follow Jen on TikTok, follow her, but I saw the post where it showed you calling every single thing that happened. So I wanted to give you your flowers because I feel like that doesn't happen often.
You nailed it. It does not happen often, if ever. So trust me, I was pretty buzzing with it as well. And I actually couldn't really even remember that clip, but I remember doing it. And then I think someone had picked up on it, posted it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I nailed it. But
nice. A good blackout performance. We like that. It's good.
Yep.
Yeah. It actually never happens, though. How many predictions do we all do, and how often do we get it right? So
I know. It's like my least favorite question, too. But Jen was right, so I had to give her flowers. But let's get this started. Everybody, thanks for tuning in, whether you're live on YouTube, listening as a podcast, or on GolazoNet. Thank y'all. But let's welcome in U.S. Soccer first-time call-up Kerry Abello, Orlando Pride, outside back, received the Big Ten Medal of Honor in 2021. She was drafted 24th overall in 2021, and she was Orlando Pride's first player to appear in 50 straight matches. Woo woo! She won the Shield last year and the championship with Orlando. She made the second best 11 team and received her first call-up, and we are so honored to bring in my friend, former teammate, Kerry Abello into Attacking Third. Kerry, how is it going? First of all, congrats. And I want to know, it's your day off at camp, which we were all like, what the hell? You get a day off at camp? What are you doing with your day?
I am taking the day to relax and recharge and just kind of process everything that has gone on the last couple of days. It's definitely been a fast-paced environment, and I'm taking in a lot of information, meeting a lot of new people. So, I'm just taking the day to myself to kind of chill.
That makes sense. I can only imagine. But to kick us off, I want to know, what was your reaction when you first got the email or the call that you were going to be called into this camp?
Yeah, I got an email, which seems kind of like anticlimactic, but it was awesome. I was just driving home from like a little coffee date with one of my friends, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to cut you off. Like, I think I'm going to camp. Like, I might be reading this wrong, but I think I'm going to camp. But no, I was just so excited. You know, I've dreamt of that call for a really long time, and I think I was just excited to get the opportunity to be in front of everyone and fight for my chance. And I immediately called all of my family members to share that moment with them. And they've played such a big role in getting me to that point too. So it was an awesome moment.
You mentioned family members and also where credit's due, right? You've done the hard work. You've got to this point. But I'd love to know how much Seb Hines has helped out in this scenario in terms of coaching, a little bit of information. How big of an impact do you think he's made on this first call-up for you?
Yeah, he has had a huge impact on making this happen. I mean, when I first got to Orlando, I was drafted, third round. I didn't have like a lot of hype behind my name. And kind of coming in immediately, I think Seb saw potential in me and believed in me. And I've kind of had to claw my way into every lineup at different positions, but he's even seen potential in me at different positions. He was the first one who told me like I could play the 8 or the 6. And I was like, well, I'm not a central midfielder. But his willingness to teach me the nuances of different positions, I think, has made me such a better all-around player. So yeah, he's had a huge role in kind of finally getting me to this point.
Yeah, that's really special. You've had a humble beginning, so for you to achieve this is just so we're thrilled for you. That with that being said, what's your mentality going into this camp? Like, what are you hoping to achieve while you're there in your first call up into this environment?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my mentality is just to give it my best and try to soak in as much of it as I can and kind of lead with curiosity and gratitude, just for being here, and rather than, nervousness or fear or anything. I've wanted this for so long, and I'm just excited to get this opportunity. And at the end of the day, I don't have any control over the decisions they make for the rosters for each camp, for the rosters for tournaments. And so I think it's a big relief in a way for me to just get the opportunity to give it my best shot. And then the decisions that are made after that are out of my hands. So I'm kind of just coming into it blind in the best way of like, I'm just going to give it my all every second and enjoy it, honestly.
I feel like that's such a good mentality to have, because it really is just like what you dream of as a little girl getting called into a camp. I mean, what would little Kerry Abello be thinking of this moment? Like, is this something that you dreamed of when you were little, watching the U.S. Women's National Team?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was. If you asked me when I was little, I would tell you that my dream is to play for the U.S. Women's National Team. It would definitely blow her mind. Little Kerry would be out of her mind for sure. But she'd also be like, no, like it makes sense. Like I know right now I'm dedicating my life to this. So like, I think I'd be happy that I finally got the shot. So
can I just ask a little bit more on that? Say it's something you dreamed of your entire life, and the US national team so well documented. We talk about it all the time. How much is your expectation been against reality, right? A few days into camp, how's it been so far in terms of what you expected versus what it actually has felt like?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably so different from my expectations from when I was really young, right? But I think as it's gotten closer, I think I've had a much more realistic expectation of what it would be like. The environment is very intense, very fast paced, elite in every way. Which I kind of love. I feel like I was really built for this, and it definitely plays to my strengths. And it's nice being in an environment with a lot of other like-minded individuals, who are just as intense and competitive. And I think more recently it's kind of matched my expectations, and more obviously you can never really picture what it would be like to be in this environment. But I like to think that I'm prepared for it.
Kerry, is there anyone at camp that these are players that you maybe played against your whole professional career, maybe some in college too, but that you're getting to train with up close, that you're just like, wow, I want to add that to my game, or you're just seeing maybe a different level than you even experience at club?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, like everyone, it's like, I think I've played against so many of these players in the NWSL. And I think the real wow factor is actually playing with them for the first time, and getting to experience them on my team, and just the way they move, and how much it opens up the field, and how many options it opens up for me when I'm on the ball, and kind of expands my game. And I think it makes me think, how can I offer that to my teammates too, when they're on the ball, and offer different options. I went to college with Sam Coffey, and just to see how her game has grown since we went to college together until now. And so I definitely hope to kind of add those nuances to my game, and just a whole new level of intensity that I can reach. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick out individual players when it's literally everyone.
How fun is it being reunited with Sam Coffey?
It's so awesome. It's so funny. I mean, we were the same year at Penn State. We were captains together. And so to be back together on the national team is kind of ridiculous in a way. But it's actually really comforting for me, just to have someone that I know so well here at camp. So it's been really good.
Can we stay on teammates for a quick second? And just, is there any leaders that have stood out for you, kind of pulled you aside for little conversations? Because I definitely remember that when I was a kid, getting first called up, you look towards your seniors to kind of that reassurance. Has anyone else kind of stood out for you in that sense?
Yeah, I've had a few conversations with Lynn so far. She has been super nice. And just she's kind of in a cool position too. I know the first day we had like one of those really awkward forced like icebreakers, which was awesome.
What was it?
Yeah, I want to know more about that.
Yeah, it was. I think Emma called it cocktail hour, and we just kind of went around and like introduced ourselves. And the first question was, "What do you?" Yeah,
Carrying a little water, electrolytes.
Yeah, electrolytes.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. She's like, there are no cocktails. I just want to clarify. But I think the icebreaker question was, what do you want to get out of this camp?
Yeah.
And Lynn was one of the first people I talked to, and she was just like, even though I've kind of been in and out of camps, I want to remind myself that I'm like a veteran and a leader and kind of step in and lean into that role. And me hearing that, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you are a leader, like you are a veteran, like you're, one of the most veteran players here and someone that I definitely look up to. And I just thought that was a really cool, like, vulnerable moment from her. And so she's been super kind. And it's also really cool having Lo be like the other newbie in camp, because she brings so much just general experience, but without the like full team camp experience. So it's been nice kind of sharing that moment with her, because she's like not phased at all. She's been through, so much in her career that she's like, just riding that wave. So it's been good having her to kind of go through all the firsts with.
That's awesome. She's on our show sometimes. We always joke that she's the oldest rookie to ever be called into a USWNT national team camp, which is crazy. She's like in her early 30s, but soccer's wild. But Kerry, that's all. We want to give you your off day back. Go enjoy it, and best of luck this camp. We're all so proud of you and can't wait to see you crush it this weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, Kerry, she is so awesome. And we've all been calling for her to get called in for McCall. I think you said for a long time now. We were talking about Kelly O'Hara.
To hear the way that she's taking it, because that mindset that she has is going to be very successful for her. So it's nice to see that she's, not too spooked and ready for the task.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also taking the day to just be like, you know what? Yeah, I don't need to be doing the most. I'm going to sit back and chill, because thinking of me getting called into not full teams, but even junior national team camps, youth soccer, I was a wreck. I definitely overtrained, overdid it. Nerves got the best of me. I want to know your both of yours experience with that, though. Jen, we'll start with you because you alluded to it talking with Kerry. What was it like when you first got a call up? How were you feeling? Were you ball of nerves? What was camp like?
I think disbelief comes to mind. It was never on my radar. I think you just work hard. I was still in youth national teams at this point. So I was still playing for, I think, under 19s. So I was young. I was 17, 16, I think, when I first got called up to senior national team, which is crazy to think back now. Obviously, the game's got way more competitive and, normally a little bit more older. But I remember still being in high school, which is so crazy. And just in sheer disbelief, crying my eyes out, thinking, oh my goodness, I'm now getting called into a camp with my heroes, right? I grew up watching the players like Julie Fleeting, who is this Scotland national team star, played out in the States, played at Arsenal, scored goals for fun, and then all of a sudden you're called into camp and they're now your teammates. And it's this weird transition of, oh my goodness, you are my hero. You were a poster on my wall. And now I'm sat at breakfast with you and we're about to go kick a ball around and that's our job. Like, it was just the best feeling. And I was complete disbelief, but wow, I was in awe of those players. And I meant what I said, though. I was like, I looked up to my leaders so much. I thought they were awesome, everything that they'd done in the game. So it was, definitely I was just so buzzing, not to sound overly British or Scottish, but I was absolutely buzzing.
We love the Scottish isms. I'm here. Yeah, I'm here for it. McCall, how different was your experience from Jen's? Because I believe you got your call up a lot later, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. I mean, my coach at the time, the year before, he was really pushing forward and like calling Jill. And then I was like, can you just stop? Because like, I want this to happen naturally. I want to earn it, and like, just leave it be. So then another year had went by and like nothing. So I was like, I wasn't expecting it, I guess is the best way to say it, because it had happened so late in my career. And when I did get there, and then I was like, oh man, okay. So yeah, I'll do this. And I was like, no big deal. But then once I got into the environment, I was like, this is a big deal. And this is my dream. And I've been like trying so hard for this for so long. And I thought I had passed. So then I got nervous because I was like, it's finally here. Don't mess it up. And when you get called in that late to the party, you've already missed so much and there was so much I didn't know. So when I got into the environment, my head was spinning because you're like a little beginner's mind sponge and you need to learn everything and take everything in. So then I was like kind of overwhelmed. And then I was like, it's just soccer. And then my first call up, my first camp, I got in like the day before and then the next day was the game and I got subbed in at halftime. And I was like, this is a lot.
Wow.
So it was overwhelming, but like so amazing. And then once I got the 45 minutes under my belt, I was like, okay, this is something I want to maintain and continue to achieve.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. I want to ask both of you, was there anyone at camp when you guys were first called in that became like big sis, that kind of took you under their wing, that helped you acclimate, get used to even just the tempo of like, this is normal, this is how the day is supposed to feel, it's supposed to feel chaotic? Jen, who was that for you?
Yeah, so I actually have two, and I spoke about her already. Julie Fleeting, for me, I remember speaking to her at breakfast and just being blown away that I was sat in front of this like star of Scotland, and she kind of, I guess, just calmed me down. She kind of made it normal. She was asking me about homework and asking me about high school, and just kind of being able to like have a conversation just made me feel so comfortable, and I'm always so grateful for that. And then everyone knows Kim Little went on to become captain. She was 1 year older than me. So I feel like we kind of clung on to each other as those like young kids in the Scotland national team at a very young age, 16, 17, 17, 18, however old we were. And we kind of would always look at each other to be like, right, what's happening? What do we do now? We need to work harder. We need to do this. We need to do that. And I learned so much from her. She was the hardest worker I knew. So I kind of learned the trade through Kim being unbelievable and the kind of young talent. And then Julie Fleeting being like the legend of Scotland. So there were two, one kind of similar age that I kind of, we were sisters at our own age, and then the legend kind of look up to her. So I was so lucky. I loved Scotland national team, man. I would go back in a heartbeat. It was just, especially I moved away when I was 18 for football, right? So I've always played abroad. Going back into camp every 6 weeks, 8 weeks to meet up with a group of Scottish people and have the same banter and this.
Your coach at the time?
Anna Signol was a woman who called me up, who Swedish, and was national team coach for years, and now I think went into the Finland job. She was amazing. She kind of really understood that I was young and really nurtured me from that age, and kind of put her arm around me to kind of looked after me. We were both young, myself and Kim in that sense. So I kind of felt really lucky that she was awesome with me as well. Because the managers is just as important, right? When you get called in firsthand.
Mm-hmm. McCall, who was the big little sis for you, or maybe big sis?
Glad you said that, because I was like older than half the team when I got called in. So this is like a little sister thing. I have two actually. I'll never forget, like right when I arrived to the hotel, the team was down there, and Alex Morgan, she came up to me right away and gave me a hug, and she was like, "You've been doing so good," or something along those lines. And I was like, okay, that's really like nice to say, like I do deserve to be here kind of thing, was the feeling she gave me. And then also Sam Ewis, like she was like,
oh yeah,
so like on her stuff like that, like she's very like regimented like I am. So everything, she was like, okay, we do meal at this time, this is what you wear. Like she was very, and we were teammates at Courage. So she was like, even though she was younger than me, she knew that it would be a little bit difficult for me. So she always was just kind of like, do you have any questions? Okay, do you need anything? Blah, 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 like, and so that even, because I'm a very logistical pro, like I'm very regimented, everything into it, every little inch matters. So for me to have that unlock as fast as I could, because she was sharing all that information with me about how things go, like the less I had to worry about off the pitch was better for me on the pitch.
I love that. I think, I didn't play for the full team, sadly got injured right before that would have happened. But I remember getting called into youth national team camps. And you guys, I grew up with a single mom who was late driving me around to all of my trainings. I remember we got an email. I went to like some training. I think there was US soccer people there. I arrived 45 minutes late. I must have done well because I think I was 13. From then, I got called into the U15 national team, and I stayed in until I was 23, 24 with US Youth Soccer. But we got the email, and me and my mom were like, I don't know if this is a real thing. And I think for so many years, until I went to a Youth World Cup, I had no pressure because I didn't understand what I was doing. And there's a lot of bliss in that. And I think it became real when I remember being roommates. Like I was with like Midge Purse, Rose Lavelle, Mandy Freeman. Like that was the girls I grew up playing soccer with. But I remember I went to a camp. This was right after the World Cup, and Lindsay Horan was my roommate. And I was like, holy shit. This girl plays abroad. She plays her PSG.
Yeah.
She's Terry Riccaro.
She's a doll.
Yeah. I was like, she's with Nike. Like, god damn. It was the biggest, like, oh, this is a real thing. Like, okay, this is really dope. But she was kind of the one to me that was like, this is how you really take care of yourself. This is how you do this. Yes, you have to stretch after. It took me a long time, I think, to actually get acclimated, but there was also like kind of how Kerry is like, you know what? I deserve this. I'm here. I'm just here to enjoy the moment, and everything else is out of my hands. But I love this. I love hearing our kind of origin stories.
I was going to say, I might be showing my age here, but I remember it was a letter that was sent out to you, like not an email. I was kind of thinking of the movement over time, and I was like, I don't know. I think I would love a phone call. Imagine if your first
yes,
how weird that must be to just get an email and Kerry summed it up like perfectly.
Wait, was it handwritten?
Yeah, it was on Scribe with a header. Yeah, scroll. I had to undo it.
Was there a wax seal?
Yeah. And a bird delivered it as well.
Jen, that's awesome.
Baby.
Yeah.
I hope you kept all of those.
Yeah. Oh, I'm crying. That was funny. But yeah, I was just thinking of the time, how that's changed. And I don't know, if your first call up, I think a phone call would...
Yeah, I'm surprised.
How weird that would be with an email, because I would have been, no, this is spam.
It's a spam, yeah.
Straight out of the junk.
Yeah.
Someone
made
a typo somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what I would have been thinking for me.
Oh, that is so awesome. Oh, the scroll.
I think it's great that like a lot of younger players are getting called in now. Like I love what Emma's doing with that, because you just kind of shake that off a lot easier when you're younger. You know, you just kind of have that like ignorance is bliss, like you said, Darian, and you just kind of go into it like, oh, here's just another soccer environment I'm playing in. But like for me, because I was so much older, I was like, I've got one cycle and one shot. Like this is it. You know?
Yeah, that pressure is so much different.
Yeah. Whereas I think when you're younger, it's like, okay, I can spend these 4 years like getting my feet wet, and then I have a whole nother cycle to go. But when you're older, like bless Lo, hope she's doing okay mentally. Like she'll, you know, she deserves to be in that cycle. So, but this is this is it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Jen, did you feel that as the older you got, like, oh, this cycle, like the pressure felt more present maybe?
For sure, because when you're young, you can get called in at any point. You know, you don't really understand the cycle of 4-year process of qualifying for a tournament or when the qualifiers start. I was completely naive to that, because I'd come from the youth setup, so I didn't really understand it. And again, like, I'm showing my age multiple times on this, but social media probably wasn't as big as what it was, and the exposure around the game wasn't quite there. So I was super naive. I went in just thinking, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to have the best time. I have no idea. I do know who we're about to play. I wasn't that naive, but I had no idea of the scale of it. And I think that in that sense, ignorance is probably bliss. I still was immensely proud that it was my first call up and first cap, but I completely resonate with what you're saying. I think the older you get, you realize the scale of it, and you realize, okay, this could stop at any time, and you start to understand the sort of vulnerability of that, of how quickly it can be taken away, especially if injuries start to creep in, you know, selection problems start to happen. But when you're a kid, you're like, this is the best job in the world. I'm doing my hobby for a living, and you just go and try and work hard and see what happens. So yeah, I can totally understand. That massively resonated with me when you were describing that. So yeah, for sure, the shift definitely happens.
Well, I love this conversation, ladies, and we're going to transition this to talk about our projected starting 11s for the U.S. Women's National Team this weekend against China and Jamaica. So stay tuned after this quick break. Welcome back into Attacking Third. I'm Darian Jenkins, joined by McCall Zerboni and Jen Beattie. Ladies, U.S. Soccer women's national team is playing against China and Jamaica this weekend, but there's a lot of new faces in camp. We're still trying to figure out who the starting goalkeeper is. There's a lot open for the women's national team. So let's go through our projected ideal starting 11s. And Macaulay, let's start with you. Who you got?
Let's do it, babes. So starting, I had Fallon in goal. We've talked about how we just need to lean into a goalkeeper and give her lots of minutes and experience. Everyone was highly impressed with her in the last competitions versus Brazil. Let's see what else she can do. We've only seen her for one match. Crystal Dunn, solid A1 outside left back. Need that experience. Sonnet, Germa, Fox. Coffey sitting in the lowest position in the midfield. Heaps to connect as the 8. Setnor up top in the upside down diamond in the midfield. And then I like Sears on the right because she is right-footed as well as Alyssa Thompson, but she drives to the end line a little bit more so she can use those cutbacks with her right foot, whereas Alyssa Thompson, she'll cut in for the shot with her right foot. And then Macario holding it down in the 9.
Oh, I like this. Can I ask about Setnor? Do you prefer her as that 10?
The reason I like her is because she's good on the dribble. And I think Lily Yohannes is also good on the dribble, but she's not as explosive and dynamic and elastic. She's not going to push it by you, whereas Setnor has an ability to break lines on the dribble. And I think that's going to be a really key piece for our underbelly to link up with Macario and possibly play balls in behind to Alyssa Thompson and Sears.
And you like Heaps being a little bit lower too.
Yeah, I don't think she's 10 status anymore. I think, she's very good on the ball. But again, that agility to break in behind 1v1 against their lowest 6 isn't her anymore, which is fine. So let's leave that to Setnor.
I like it. Mine's pretty different. But Jen, I'm going to have you go next. Yeah, I think I definitely did like who I want to see, not what I actually think will happen.
I love that because I'm glad you went down that route because I was thinking, okay, mine's like 2 changes from McCall's one, I think. Yeah, I definitely had Yohannes in midfield. I think she's been unbelievable to watch. I think her performances at top level, still being so inexperienced, but not showing any of that. So that was my one difference in midfield. I love when she drops in front of the back 2. Obviously, Naomi Girma back in the starting 11, I think has to happen. So happy for her being back fully fit. So yeah, my back 4, my goalkeeper wasn't any different. I had Alyssa Thompson in there. I just think her performances against Brazil, I thought was brilliant. And again, on the dribble, kind of similar to what McCall was saying. So yeah, I only had 2 major changes. Obviously, Setnor I'd probably put as a 9 and Macario on the wing side. But Lily Yohannes, for me, she's been such a standout. And for still to be so young, I can't wait to see how her career kind of goes on in the next couple of seasons and what she achieves because she has genuinely been unbelievable to watch.
Wait, explain why you have Germa on the left and Sonnet on the right, like with their strengths and weaknesses, or what are you imagining there?
I think Sonnet's more comfortable on the right. I think she's and then Germa's pace covers more on the left-hand side with I know Dunn has unbelievable pace as well, but they're interchangeable. I think they're both covered on either side, but I think for me, Sonnet looks more comfortable on the right-hand side, especially with Emily Fox next there.
Well, you would know, you're the expert back there.
Right.
Barely.
Our resident defender. Would you both, so McCall, you'd prefer Setnor in the midfield because of her dribbling ability, but Jen, you'd prefer Lily Yohannes in the midfield because of her passing dynamism, right?
Passing for sure, yeah. Passing, Lily Yohannes, when I watch her pick up the ball, that pass she plays in between, from picking up the centre of the pitch, the passes she makes in between the outside back and the centre back are just, it's one of the hardest balls to play because one, you have to get the pace spot on, the accuracy of it has to be perfect. And from a defender's perspective, it's one of the hardest things to defend. Who covers it? A centre back or a tracking back midfielder from your opposition? So for me, that technical ability, I've seen her do it so many times and it's the hardest pass to execute and she's already doing it at such a young age. So yeah, for me, technical ability, passes in the forward third, unbelievable.
I would agree. For a youngster, she has really good vision, high class for how old she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, she's not in mine, sadly,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of second guessing it. But Mark, let's throw up my starting 11. Yeah, I went a different route. I have Patterson starting on the right. I'm thinking, hey, Fox has been just won a Champions League. She's balling out. We know that she has that position. Let's see who else. And Avery Patterson to me has just been stellar. Rookie from Houston. I think she's been such a standout. I have Girma and Sonnet, which now I'm thinking, dang, do I switch them? Because Jen said to switch them, but let's just keep them. Crystal Dunn on the left, because I don't think anybody can replace Crystal Dunn, quite frankly. She's a player to me that gets better with age. At this double six, I have LoBonta and Coffey. Lo to me is a player that adds such a different wrinkle to that sixth position because she has the passing ability and the vision, but she also likes to dribble. I think that takes a little bit of load off of Lindsay Heaps and what maybe U.S. soccer has always expected her to do. And LoBonta isn't afraid to go forward, and she's not afraid to try to score a banger every once in a while. And I think that sixth position needs that. I think it'll push Coffey a little bit more. On the right, I have Michelle Cooper. I think she's been called into camp a couple of times. She deserves a start. Let her come off at the first minute, and let's see how she turns teams around, how she gets end line. She's been working on that crossing ability. We all had Macario and Thompson on the left, and in the center, I think that doesn't even need to be explained. Macario's just been, I think, incredible. I like what she offers in that 9 position. It's different than we've seen in a really long time. And Alyssa Thompson deserves to start every game, in my opinion. I think she's been one of the best forwards with the U.S. The last few months, and let alone in the NWSL. She is just balling out. But let me know where are the holes in my lineup, because I know.
Did y'all think about the opponent, or did you just put out what you would like to see? Because
I thought about the opponent.
I have Lo starting against Jamaica because she's more of that player that can give that brute and that physicality and competitive and tackles and stuff against the Jamaican side.
I like that, but I also see her being against another really highly technical team, being able to weave in and out and use her dribbling that I think we don't always get from Sam Coffey. I think it's really rare when we get that from Coffey, and the way that they might balance each other out could be interesting.
I do love the idea of starting LoBonta though, and in terms of just it's deep end, right? It's your first camp. You have to test players, and like, of course, you could wait until the Jamaica game, but I love the idea of starting a player. I think it's so hard to come into a game on your first camp, first call up, and getting 10, 20, 30 minutes. And I think Emma Hayes loves to just start players, throw them in at the deep end, say what you got, and I think she'll thrive in that. I think Kerry kind of summed it up perfectly. She seems to be thriving at senior age coming into camp. She can handle that kind of pressure. So I love the idea of starting her and kind of throwing her in that sense.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, for you two, would you rather be a sub, say, for 15 minutes, or would you rather just be called in your first time to camp and get a start?
On a first camp?
First camp.
First cap.
Yep.
I don't know if I'd want to start. Yeah, I think I'd like a little 30-minute appearance just to find your feet, right? I think especially, I don't know actually, maybe as a centre back, I'd want to start the game. Obviously, they're never going to substitute a centre back coming into it. In my heyday, though, I was a striker. Wasn't sure.
Hey, we've got some clips of you scoring.
Throw me off the bench and strike. But yeah, I think just in terms of inexperience, I would want like a 30-minute, 20-minute just as a starter pack. I think to start a game now on your first camp as a kid is hard. But Lo's not a kid, so she can handle that pressure.
Yeah. McCall?
I would for sure like to work into it just because I wouldn't want to let anybody down. And so I just wanted to make sure I was as much prepared as possible. But it also depends on the camp, because if it was January camp and I had like 2 or 3 weeks to train with the team before our first match, then for sure. But like camps like this, when you're in the midst of the NWSL, you really only go 3, maximum 4 days early. 1 day's off, 2 days you train, and then all of a sudden you wake up, it's match day -1. So yeah.
Screw it. Put me in. Hey, there's no expectations on me. Yeah, give me 70 minutes. Let's go.
We want to start.
Yeah, why not?
I feel like I love it.
Especially in your first camp, it's like there's no real expectation. I'm just gonna grow from whatever happens on the pitch right now. So,
I think also
forward. Let me go at them.
Yeah,
why not?
I think also in terms, because you never know. Say if it's your first cap, right? You never know how it's going to go. So I guess if you start, you get the experience of walking out with the team, having the whole experience, singing the anthem. You get that experience. Like, so it might be your first. You might go on to get over 100. You never know. There's no plan. There's no expectation on this. So I guess having that experience, like, that gives me goosebumps actually thinking about it. That's what. Yeah, no, it's right. That's unbelievable. So yeah, I get that perspective. Back yourself, Darian. I love it.
Hell yeah. I try, even if I'm faking it, which I probably would be if I got to start. Emma Hayes, if something happens, you ever want to call a retired player up? I'm not afraid. JK, I am. But this was a dope conversation, but just want to make an announcement. Gisele Thompson announced that she has to leave camp. She has an injury with the U.S. Women's National Team. There's no word on if she's going to be replaced at the moment, but wish her a speedy recovery because we would like to see her back on the pitch soon. Here's her tweet. You can see from U.S. Soccer, get better soon, Gisele. She's departed training camp due to a minor hip injury. She will not be replaced on the roster. So this means Emma Hayes does not have to leave somebody off of the bench now going into games. Everybody can be lined up. But again, Gisele, we wish you the best recovery. And you guys stay tuned because we are playing a little game led by Jen Beattie next after this quick little break. Hey y'all, welcome back to Attacking Third. We have a little bit of a stressful game that we're going to play from my end. So I don't like guessing my friends wrong. But we're going to bring back an old favorite as we gear up for the women's national team match against China. It's called Name That Player. Jen will be the moderator. McCall and I will square off to see who can name the player. So Jen, you've got the rules in front of you. So you're going to read them off for the first time, and McCall and I will be playing this beloved A3 classic. So I'll toss it over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're going to compete against each other. How do we feel about that?
I mean, do y'all like game night? It's not really my thing. On the field, that's where it's at. That's where it ends.
Love a game night. Never been a host, but let's go. I'm going to read these clues just so I don't make any mistakes. So are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. There are 4 rounds. 4 players to be named and guessed by you guys. Both of you have 2 rounds each. There are up to 5 clues per player to be named. If you guess correctly after the first clue, you get 6 points. If you guess correctly after the second, you get 4 points. After the third clue, 3 points. Fourth clue, 2 points. And obviously after the 5th clue, you receive 1 point.
You suck.
The audience suggestions can be used for help if need be. But be careful. One wrong guess and you lose a round and you get nil point. No points.
Oh. Wow, it's sleepy, huh?
How are we feeling?
We're good. So I'm going first.
You're going first.
Okay.
So we'll go Darian McCall. 4 players. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready for player number 1, and I won't say the player because that was my biggest fear this whole entire time. Okay. Clue number 1. This player has won 3 straight She Believes Cups in 2022, 2023, and 2024.
I have a name in my head, but I'm going to go with the second clue because I think there's a couple of players that could be that.
Okay. Clue number 2. This player graduated 1 year early from high school and entered the University of Northern Carolina in January 2017.
2017, the year I graduated.
Entered university.
Entered university in 2017, the year I graduated.
Yeah.
3 straight She Believes.
3 straight She Believes in recent years. Entered University of North Carolina in January 2017, having graduated 1 year early from high school.
Doesn't say where she went to high school.
No.
I don't think that would help me. UNC, younger than me. I'm going to go with Emily Fox because I remember playing against her when she was with UNC, I believe when I was with Seattle. Is that right?
Nailed it. Yeah. Good job. So clue number 2.
I'd love it. Okay,
Yeah.
what were the other clues?
Clue number 3 was this player was drafted by Racing Louisville, a first overall pick in the 2021 NWSL.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of easy to forget. You forget that she was ever here.
Yeah.
Left NWSL in 2023 for the WSL. That was the next one.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, you got it. You didn't need them. You only did 2.
D money, amazing.
Right, McCall, you're up next.
Thank you. I'm sweating.
Ready, McCall? Okay. Player number 2 and clue number 1. This player declared for the NWSL college draft, but was not selected in 2019.
I feel like that's a trick question almost.
I didn't make the questions.
An undrafted player that's on our national team right now. Let's talk about that.
But they declared for the draft, but were undrafted.
Exactly, in 2019.
I feel like that's a trick question.
Is it?
Shoot, I might have to go second.
Okay.
Clue
number 2. This player won both an NWSL Shield and a Women's FA Cup in back-to-back years. Darian, I can see your brain trying to work as well.
There's steam coming out of my afro. Won an FA Cup and an NWSL Shield. You said right?
Years, yeah. Both won NWSL Shield and FA Cup in back-to-back years.
Oh, I need a third clue.
I need to remind you that you can use the suggestions from the chat if you dare. See the comments. You can use the suggestions.
I'm going to try to ride solo
if
on this.
You want.
Do it. I can do it. All right, I need one more clue. I'm going.
Need one more clue. Okay, clue number 3. This player majored in marine biology and is a certified AOW and AAUS scientific diver. Wow.
Of course they do. Sounds perfect and incredible. What's going on here?
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's amazing.
Who won a Shield? Oh, geez, back to back?
Okay, if you don't get this, I think you'll get it from clue number 4.
Okay, I have to take 4.
The big one. Okay, this player took over the starting role for her club after the departure of a player who abruptly announced her retirement just recently from international football.
Can I give McCall a hint?
You can give McCall a hint.
She plays for your club, the club you support.
Right.
What?
Do you know the player I'm talking about that just recently really abruptly retired from international football?
Yes.
Okay. She took her spot at club level last season.
So it has to be Fallon.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging on.
Yeah.
No, you're good. The game is nerve-wracking because you're like, I know these facts. I can't.
Yeah. I'm going to say I'm glad I'm on this side. You guys have got the hard job. Okay, Darian, player number 3. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, clue number 1. This player attended the University of Southern California and featured in 76 matches for the Trojans from 2017 to 2021.
Okay, younger than me, USC. Boo, UCLA, yay. Who on the national team went to USC?
I think you're actually a big fan of this player as well.
Oh, God.
If you get it on clue number 1, that's pretty impressive also.
I'm blanking on USC, though.
Next clue.
Okay.
We've got a time limit on this, right?
Sorry. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Clue number 2. This player was the 8th overall pick in the first round of the 2021 NWSL draft. He was the 8th overall pick in the first round of the 2021 NWSL draft.
The 2021.
These clues are hard.
Look at USC. They're tough because I'm like, the college is
around like 26, 27 years old. Like, let's do that math.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the midfield. Who's younger than me? I might have to go for clue number 3.
Okay, this player won an NWSL championship in 2021. That is clue number 3. 2021 NWSL.
2021.
Yeah.
I think that was Spirit.
If you don't get it from number 3, I'm almost 100% sure you'll get it from clue number 4.
Oh God, I better.
Well,
I kind of want to just like guess. One, it was Spirit in 2021. They're younger than me.
Yeah.
The USC thing is throwing me off, but just by the age and who I'm deducting, I don't know where they went to school. I'm gonna go Tara McKeown.
Claps.
Oh.
Woo!
Just so you know, the next clue, this player made a significant positional change from forward in college to centre back.
Oh yeah,
that was the one I was
Yeah.
like, you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
yeah. Damn, I didn't even know she went to USC, but that's awesome.
She
Good
also
for her.
playing Iron Woman for the first time in 2024.
Yeah.
Played it every minute. Love it.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
McCall, we ready? Player
Yes.
number 4? Okay, let's do it. Clue number 1. This player made a cameo in the Netflix film Family Switch. I did not know this. What? Clue number 1. This player made a cameo in the Netflix film Family Switch.
I don't know. On to the next clue. I'm not even gonna
McCall's
try.
shaking her head.
Wait, and
already.
she's like, hard no. Okay. Clue number 2. This player also runs track and ran the 100-meter in 11.74 seconds, which was the second fastest 100-meter sprint at that time in the state of California.
I know. You know her. You know this one,
Sears.
McCall.
Think pace.
Emma Sears.
Oh, no. Wrong. Yeah, that's 0. Oh, no.
Who is it?
Alyssa
Oh,
Thompson.
oh, I was wrong. I
Wait,
thought it
who's
was Lynn.
faster? You guys, who's faster do you think if they raced? Sears or
Sears
Thompson?
Thompson?
Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Thompson.
But Sears is said to clock the fastest 40 in the NWSL. She's a notch faster than Lynn Biondolo.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Do we
Dang.
want to know a tiebreaker question just for fun?
Oh.
Yeah, why not?
Because the scores, producer Mark, you might need to tell us what the scores were because math is not my strong point. But the tiebreaker question, who scored the final goal for the Wave in their 5-2 defeat of NC Courage this past Sunday?
Oh,
Do we just blurt it out?
Leon?
Sanchez.
Sanchez, good job.
Oh,
Winner. All right, the roundup from that was actually, Darian, you were on 7 points. McCall, 2.
Yes,
Yes,
is
Darian, you stormed it. Good job. Congratulations, Darian.
thank you.
Winner.
Thank you. Marky Mark. I think this is
That was good.
this is my
fun.
second one. That was
I am
tough.
sweating though. I was supposed to work out today, but now I'm
Right?
good.
The game.
Heart rate
the
hit all it
game's
needed to in that round.
Jen, also you crushed it. Great job being the host. That was
Mhm.
it was very clean all the way through.
Guys, I definitely preferred being on this side. Your side was tough. I was quite happy reading my clues out. I was all good.
I can't wait till we do a WSL one.
There you go.
'Cause that's gonna be all
almost
you.
fits me up on that. Okay.
But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. That was our show. This is a really fun show. We got to talk to Kerry Abello, do our projected starting 11s for the US versus China this weekend, and play a little game, which I actually can't wait to do again. The pressure's slowly like rolling off. It's becoming a little bit more fun than it was last time. McCall, I think it'll be more fun next time.
Well, the win always helps, so congrats to you.
Thank you. But everybody, don't forget the U.S. Women's National Team play China this weekend at Allianz Field in St. Paul, Minnesota on the 31st, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And Attacking Third will go live directly after at 7:30 p.m. Eastern to recap it all. You don't want to miss it, but that was our show. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening as a podcast on YouTube or on Galazzo Network. From Jen, McCall, producer Mark, I'm Darian Jenkins. This was Attacking Third.